A chill slithered down Sophie's spine as she crossed the small gravel parking lot behind the library. Glancing over her shoulder, she noticed her co-worker's vehicle and saw the trees beyond the lot swaying in the breeze. But nothing out of the ordinary jumped out at her. She sped up her pace nonetheless, and didn't breathe a sigh of relief until she had entered the building and closed the door behind her. Once she was safely inside, she felt ridiculous. She had been looking over her shoulder for months, jumping at shadows, but there was no reason to be so nervous. Not anymore. She had left her past behind and started over here in Pleasant Valley 3 months ago, and she had never been happier. Unfortunately, leaving behind the paranoia and fear so deeply ingrained in her psyche after years of abuse hadn't been resolved by ditching her ex. After stashing her purse in the break room, she clocked in and headed up front to begin her day. The musty smell of books and wood polish greeted her just like it did every morning. She walked through the stacks, ran her fingers over the spines of books filled with enough imagination to fuel endless dreams, and made sure nothing was out of place. The Pleasant Valley Community Library was small by comparison to some of the others where she had worked, but there was something about this one that charmed her more than the others. She loved the modest size, the laid-back pace, and being able to work one-on-one with the people who came in for help. Luck had been on her side the night she had applied online for the position. At the time, she had been desperate to find a new job as far away from her prick of a boyfriend as she could get. She had searched online for months, to no avail. It didn't help that she had worked as a librarian assistant since college and had no other experience. As much as she loved working in libraries, positions were few and far between, and she hadn't held up much hope of finding anything. She had almost given up when she stumbled on the Pleasant Valley ad for a full-time librarian and applied, despite not really being qualified. To her surprise, she landed the job. She hadn't cared about the library being smack dab in the middle of a shifter reservation. It wasn't like she was one of those crazy, shifter-phobic protesters who were always on TV. 3 months later, she was settled in and loving life on her own. Sure, she got lonely sometimes, but she would happily deal with a little loneliness rather than kowtow to a man. She had a cute little house, her trusty junker of a car, and her life was finally her own. Now the only person she had to answer to was herself, and she wouldn't have it any other way. "Hello," a hand waved in front of Sophie's face, and fingers snapped. "Earth to Sophie." Sophie blinked and turned to smile at her co-worker. "I'm sorry, Deb. I'm a space cadet this morning." "I can see that," the kind older woman said. "Tell me you were thinking about some hot new guy you just met and all will be forgiven." "No," Sophie said. "That's not going to happen any time soon." Deb was happily married and dying to introduce Sophie to a slew of locals she claimed were hot, ready, and willing to settle down. Sophie wasn't interested. Not now. Maybe never. Hoping to change the subject, she headed toward the information desk to turn on the service computers. Deb trailed along behind her. "Well, just let me know if you change your mind about me setting you up with someone. I know a lot of available bachelors." "I appreciate the offer, but I'm going to pass." "You know what they say." Deb wiggled her eyebrows. "The best way to get over one man is to get under another one." "That's the last thing I need right now." Sophie typed her username and password into the computer and hit enter. Even casual sex came with too many complications. A battery-operated boyfriend would work just fine for anything she needed.